Hi, so this is Caroline again. I'm going to be demonstrating all the features of my interactive composition environment. So first of all, you open it up from this folder. So there's a lot of things in here. The one you want to press is Fuzz Track Ball. And so here is the main interface that we'll be working with. You'll also want to have the Ableton template up as well. So when you just open this the first time, it's just an empty template. And the reason that you need to use that is because there's all these MIDI mappings going on, and so those MIDI mappings allow the whole patch to function. Okay, so just a quick overview of how the system works in general. This area here is your different sound clips and where they're located, and so you can move those around. You can edit them by shift clicking. All the shortcuts are right here, but just briefly, you can shift click to move them around. You can also shift and select the center and edit that. You can also edit the spread itself, like so. So there's a couple of different options for editing those, and you can get a lot of variety with them. And then to add a new point, there's the shortcut Option Shift Click, or you can just use the button Add Point, and that will add a point. And then there's some options right here. There's No Null and Use Null. So what null is basically this black empty space. So when you're on No Null, it will normalize between all the points you have to make sure that it's completely full at all times. But when you use null, then you'll have this black empty silence around each of your clips. So it just depends what you're going for. And another option here is you can toggle the guidelines. You can also toggle the layers. So that's sort of the functionality for placing the different sound fuzz balls we have. So there's a whole timing section up here. So since it's sort of modeled after a more traditional timeline, you can set the length of a piece, how long it's going to be. So you can do that with these little dials here. So right now I'm setting it to like 15, 17 minutes. That's a little long. I'm actually going to take that down to 0 and just arrange the second. So I want this piece to be, say, just 44 seconds long. So I can do that by adjusting it here. And then you'll want to start the piece. And so the reason it might not be behaving like it should is because of this button here. So this allows you to toggle whether it's following along with the time, like the original scheme for this whole environment, or if you untoggle this, then you can freely move around this square, which can be helpful when you're just trying to figure out what sound is linked up to what. And then this will take you back to your the timeline view. So the way this works is this little dot is our point of focus. So that's where the sound is playing. That's what selects what sound is playing now. So it moves along the x-axis with time, and then the y-axis, as we can see, it moves around the slider. And the slider could be the input for all sorts of devices. So that's the idea behind it. So one useful thing, especially if you're not in timeline, so if we can freely move this around, so one functionality we have is that if we click right on a sphere here, it will actually take us to that audio track over here, so it'll select it. So I'll do that one more time. So right here I've selected this one right here, and I can see that this is the audio track that it's linked to. You can also see that, of course, by the gain going up, but it also selects the track for you. So that's one feature that's in there, and it can help you if you're trying to figure out what audio clip is related to each visual, to which visual fuzzball here. So we've covered the timing, which you can set before you do your start piece, and then how to toggle between timeline and moving the point of focus around by hand. So, and just to explain this right here, there'll be the amount of sliders that there are fuzzballs in your frame so it'll vary depending on how many points you have, as you can see here. This is what controls the gain in Ableton, so these sliders are directly mapped into Ableton. Okay, so we've covered that, we've covered these features over here. So the last feature to really cover that's actually really important is saving and loading files. So the way you do that is you can actually save sets of files in one save. So the way that works is, say I like this arrangement I have here. So I'm just going to store that in one. So it says store right here, so I'm just going to select this, and I can select any of these options here. So I'm just going to select 0, and the little caret that pops up indicates that there's something stored there. And now we can see that in the recall method. So let's just add a few more, some variety to our stores. So I'll clear this for now, add a few points. Notice this one will be no null, so it's going to be a little bit different in that respect. So I'm going to store that here, and I'll just make a few more of those. Okay, one more. So I'm just going to put these all down in the corner so we can see how it preserves the position when you save. Okay, so if I ever want to go back to any of those arrangements that I have, I'll use this recall menu right here. So if I recall there, I have my first arrangement, and then my second arrangement, and then my third arrangement, theoretically. So the problem right now, the bug that I'm having, is that it's not saving all the time. Sometimes it saves, sometimes it doesn't. So this is a bug I'm working on. But for now, it will not always save, unfortunately, which is a big issue that I need to figure out. So we can try that again. I'll just store that in here. Go over there really quick. Okay, so see, that time it's stored. So sometimes you just have to be persistent and double check that when you store it, it actually goes into that recall. So this is temporarily on the patch, but the way we save that so we can load in a set of presets that we have is we can do this client window and then write. Okay, so then I can save this as anything. So I'm going to say my first presets. Okay, so I'm just going to save that file. Alright, so that's there all the time. So you can, if you open up this file again and you have a whole variety of presets, you can go into here and you can go read, and then you can find those presets again and load them in. So that's how you can save files. And you'll notice also that it, in addition to saving where the fuzzballs are, it also saves the amount of time that you set the piece to and whether you're using null or not null. So that's how saving works. So I think I've covered all the features. So enjoy.